Going live. Hey, and we're here. What's going on, everyone? This is Javon LeBlanc, and I'm here with Grant the Fox. And you can follow Grant the Fox at Grant the Fox on Twitter, Facebook,
Vine, Instagram,
all that young people stuff. And I'm also here with Phil, and he is also known as Bantha Pooter. Bantha Pooter? Did I get that right?
It's Bantha Fodder.
Bantha Fodder. I butcher all your names. I'm so sorry.
So obviously, yes. Hello, everyone.
What's going on, everyone? And you guys know, by the way, you can also follow Bantha Fodder on Xbox Live if you guys are willing to get down with some gaming. He's pretty good at gaming. So, letting you guys know right now, he'll jack you guys up. And it's me, of course. And you can follow me guys at Javon LeBlanc or google.com/ or plus / I don't know how that works, at Javon LeBlanc. You know, it's really confusing. So we're here. We're Chotech. We're here to give you guys news and fun stuff that's all us nerds love about technology and movies and gaming and all that other cool stuff. So let's talk about everyone. How you guys' day has been. It's been a pretty cool day today.
That would be an understatement. Took about 30 minutes to get home from work when it only takes about 5 minutes.
Oh wow, that's
really
pretty
bad traffic out there. Stay safe.
Oh man.
If you're in Maryland, stay safe.
How about you, Phil? You experienced any bad traffic today in this snowstorm?
Yeah, I actually got stuck on a hill, and this dude in the van had to just like push me through an intersection, and I was like terrified driving home because like how messed up is my bumper? But it was actually scratchless, so I'm thankful.
See, that's Japanese engineering, guys. Nissan, get a Nissan, everyone. So we have some pretty cool topics to talk about today in technology. You guys see I have my Nexus 9, and we're going to use that as my run-through device. So Nexus 9, everyone, and they're not paying me to do that. I should get paid to do that. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Let's talk about Cyanogen, and should Google be worried about Cyanogen?
You know, the very little experience I have on Cyanogen, I want to hear his opinion on this first before I throw mine in there.
You can't be talking about me.
Oh yeah, I am.
I just learned what firmware is, so I'm going to have to go with Javon first, then we'll So let's continue.
Yeah. All right, Javon, I think this one's yours.
And this one's mine. This sounds great. So, in case anyone of you guys are listening here have known, Cyanogen is a company that specializes in Android ROMs. ROMs are something that can be a lot of people to root their phones, very similar to iPhone's jailbreak and stuff, and you can throw on a customized or a special modified version of the Android operating system on your device. With Cyanogen, it's really unique because they use stock Android or Google's experienced Android with all the Play services and everything that people like, all the free Google services, but they modify it to add some pretty cool features that you won't get or Google doesn't offer. And one of them is actually improved battery life, which is really cool. There's been some news lately that Microsoft just gave them $100 million or something like that, or was it $10 million? I think it was $10 million.
I'd go with 10, yeah.
Yeah.
100's a bit out there.
Yeah. I think it was $100 million next to help Cyanogen, quote unquote, take Android away from Google. I'm going to go on and say no, Google shouldn't be worried. And I think the entire thing has been a big misunderstanding. I don't think that Cyanogen, the CEO, meant what he said about taking Android away from Google. I think what they're trying to say is that since Android is an open operating system, meaning that you can modify it and use it to your pleasing, there's other versions of Android, like for instance Amazon OS, where they give you a version of Android and they don't give you the Google services, and they replace that Play Store services and Google services
with Amazon's.
With Amazon's market correctly. So is it possible for us to see Microsoft jumping on with Android phones and giving people Microsoft services with an Android phone? Is that necessarily we can see in the future?
It's funny you mentioned that. I was actually reading up on the Galaxy S6, and it seems like Samsung was pairing up with Microsoft, so you can do things like have Microsoft Word on there, Microsoft Office, PowerPoint built in onto the phone with that operating system. So I can see how Samsung can be cooperating with Microsoft and that sort of thing. So I think they're going to jump on the bandwagon with that one. How about you?
I gotta tell you, seeing I don't want to call it bloatware, but do I want a phone? I mean, do I need a phone pre-installed with tons of Microsoft services? I feel like if I wanted an Android phone, I'm kind of buying into the Google ecosystem. I feel like if I want a phone full of Microsoft stuff, I'm gonna buy a Lumia device.
Yeah.
Phil, back me up on this. What do you think about that?
I mean, I have my phone, and it's got tons of this Verizon stuff on there that I don't want. So, I wouldn't see the purpose in getting another phone that had this Verizon stuff if I didn't want it in the first place. So
Well,
I guess
what are you going to do without the Verizon Navigator, man? We all use that.
I think I will have to finally give up my VZ Navigator. Yes. So,
I think they literally just got to stop trying with that sort of stuff. No one uses this. And it has like 2 stars on their own market.
yes.
Verizon Navigator, you guys are hilarious. So I mean, so Cyanogen, are any of you guys have any of you guys used Cyanogen before?
Well, you know me, Javon. We tried that once, and S3 is not supported on that. So
You know, and honestly, I'm not comfortable using anything that I can't just simply download from the Play Store. So that's a problem for me because I'm not getting that technical with my stuff. So.
well, Cyanogen one seemed pretty easy to work though. Just it didn't work with my device.
Yeah.
It literally just seemed like it was something you installed and it would do for you.
Yeah, there is a companion app for the Cyanogen mod phones and stuff. So some supported devices you can just install a what's it called? I forget what it's called. You can install a app on the phone, and then you can install another app on your desktop, OS X or Windows, and it can automatically root your device for you and install CyanogenMod for you without having to do all this extra stuff. I think it's pretty cool. So I apologize, guys. My Hangouts is going crazy. I should probably mute my stuff, but I'm not. So. Let's see what else we have here. What else we have? We have Galaxy S6, which that's actually interesting. You're talking about the Galaxy S6.
Oh yeah, here's my category right here. All right. Galaxy S6. I don't know what to take on this. I've seen the leaks. I think it's going to look like an iPhone 6 lookalike. I hope not, because if they do, Samsung lost a customer.
Oh, really?
It's something where I lose the functionality and I can't take out the battery, I can't take out the SD card. If I wanted to lose functionality, I'd go with an iPhone. It's that simple. But don't clone something. That's something they had over the iPhone. It's the removable back. I mean, batteries, they die after a while. You know, after maybe a couple of years, the batteries they're done. You got to get a new battery, or if you want to get more memory, you put in an SD card. Oh, I hope they don't do this. I really hope.
So you really don't want Samsung to go this the route that not only iPhones but a couple Android manufacturers, including the Google Nexus program, has also been doing this. They've no longer allowed you to do the removable backs, and you have fixed amount of storages.
Yeah.
You feel like this is a bad move by Samsung?
I mean, basically, if they were doing this, if they were playing catch up with the rest of the manufacturers who are also doing this, I guess they figured they can make more money by charging more. Let's say we have a phone that holds 32 gigs, charge $299 with contract. Then let's do 64 gigs, and we'll charge $399 for contract. It doesn't cost $100 to do like twice the amount of storage. I bought a 32 gigabyte SD card right there, and that costs like $20. I think they're just making more of a profit on it than anything else.
That is.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like an Apple's premium design. You know, it's an aluminum unibody, and everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, Apple did this. I must do this too." So that's just me. I want to be able to remove that stuff.
Oh wow! So what do you think, Phil, about this Galaxy S6? Is this a phone for you? Is this your next phone?
Well, as you know, I've been having issues with Galaxy, and I didn't know you could take the back off one of these. That's pretty cool.
So,
Okay.
you seen it first, guys. Phil just realized he can take the back off a Galaxy S5.
There's two types of people in this world.
That is one long battery, guys. Take a look at that thing. You know. But in all seriousness, you talk about the batteries and how they die off, but I've yet to have an Android-supported device that would last long enough to have the battery be the problem in the first place.
Well, it's true. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. I've had phones where the battery is garbage. So let's say you get an Apple phone and the battery is some garbage, but the rest of the phone's good. So what do? You can't replace the battery. You got to take it to the Apple store and say, oh, bad battery. You either get A, a new phone, or B, they try to replace the battery.
Gotcha.
So it's just, instead of doing that whole lengthy process of having to go to the store, then wait, and then finally getting it, it might work. You go onto Amazon, you spend what, $15, and then you get a brand new one. In fact, you can get two. You can put it right in your wallet. So if your battery dies, just pop another one in.
Where does my storage go? I don't see the extra option for memory.
You should have something that looks like this. There's your SIM card, and there's your SD card.
Yeah, see, it doesn't have that here. It's just kind of.
Is that underneath your battery, possibly?
Oh, let's take a field trip.
No, go to the top. Go to the top of the battery. Let me see it again.
Oh, it's under the SIM card. That's kind of nifty.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Right there.
Oh,
okay, cool. All right, once again, I learn something every day, right?
Yeah.
All right.
So your phone has a capacity of 128 gigabytes extra external with the S5. You seem to not even use any external memory at all. Is that? So I'm guessing Galaxy S6 with fixed storage and non-removable back plate would be fine for you, I'm guessing, Phil.
Absolutely. I mean,
see, it wouldn't be good for me though.
Yeah.
Because I'm always shooting, I'm always recording, I'm always importing vines and music and stuff like that. I have to have it. In fact, I ran out of my memory, and I kind of needed it at a very, very important time.
Oh.
Someone broke into our house, and I was recording it, and it stopped recording, and I was like, oh, shoot. So,
yeah, that sounds pretty critical.
Yeah,
see, me personally, I don't see a need for a phone for removable back if there's other ways for me to add expandable storage. Now, granted, but if you know how I operate, majority of my data and information is in the cloud. I don't have a really big need for physical storage. I think 32 gigs is fine for me. I do have a OnePlus 164 gigabyte, and that's more than enough for me. I don't need external storages for this because at $350 unlocked, I think storage prices was great for here. Even with the Nexus 9, 32 gigabytes is fine for me. I don't really use that. I don't do too much to where I need extra storage, and I have about a terabyte of Google Cloud storage available to me. So
now, one thing I don't understand why phone companies haven't done this yet. Why don't they dedicate one segment of the hard drive, or design some sort of different hard drive where it holds just the OS? It makes that boot a lot faster. Like, for example, my computer that I just built, it's not, the OS isn't on the old traditional hard drive. It's on a M.2. It's on the right attached to the motherboard, and so when you go to boot it up, it boots this fast because it's much faster than a regular what's the word? A regular hard drive, but it's even faster than one of those HDD.
So you have, in case you guys are looking right now, you guys don't know, Grant's trying to say, because he's tired, is that he has the operating system partition on a solid state, an empty solid state directly on his motherboard, and not on a traditional hard drive. So
it's not sharing space, basically. It's like its own dedicated memory. It only has like 60 gigabytes on it, and that's just enough to hold the operating system for the computer to work. If you just do that, and then the actual hardware and the way it communicates with the motherboard and the rest of the phone, it can be so much faster. I don't understand why they don't do that.
Yeah, the thing is, though, is there a type of storage that's faster right now that we could be using besides flash memory that's already in phones? I'm not sure. So I don't know if that's something that we could do. Now, my thing is, that will we really want slower storage for data when it comes to applications and things? I'm sure a lot of us like fast apps, so I don't think that would be a solution right now, just with how the technology and the market is. But possibly in the near future, as technology and storages become to advance, where you can have a faster type of flash storage where you can do that, and then have on the turn side have an internal storage with 128 gigabytes at a lower cost. That sounds cool. But I feel like right now the technology is not there, and if it is there, they're obviously not going to do it for financial reasons. Of course, they're trying to get a bigger profit. Just like you said earlier with Samsung and Apple, how they sell $100 for an extra 32 gigabytes. That sounds pretty bad. But
since we're talking about the phones, let me jump right to the camera part on the cell phones. That's the next on the list.
So that's on the list. All right. So, cell phone cameras, how important are they? And will they stop you from buying a point-and-shoot camera or a DSLR?
Yeah. Before I say anything, I want to hear Phil's opinions on this, and then Sean.
Yeah, because Phil's he's our average Joe here. So you can go ahead and tell us, like, how important are cell phone cameras for you?
I am the average Joe, but I did work at a flagship electronics company that shall remain nameless that sold both cell phones and the DSLR cameras. And about a year and a half ago, most of the DSLRs got clearanced out because no one was buying them anymore. So I personally think everyone wants to do everything with one of these. So if you have some type of something that's competitive, they would take a loss at whatever the better process is with the dedicated camera for sure. Just because people want to do everything with this thing, So yeah.
So you're saying it's DSLR cameras and point and shoots are going to die off to the cell phone?
Yes, because I think a lot, and outside of technology alone, like things have fallen off to this. Scales, thermometers. There's no limit to what these things are killing. So a camera, which it already has a decent one of, I think that's pretty simple.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you. What do you think here, Grant?
You want my opinion first, or you want me to go last?
No, you go ahead and you hit me, man.
All right, so because I'm in a TV studio and after learning about all the electronics and how they work and all that sort of cool technical stuff, I realized I'm not getting the cool quality look of a movie that I actually want it to look like. I'm watching these other videos, I'm like, how are they making it look like this? It looks so good. And there's a lot of key factors that come into play here, especially when it comes to the hardware. These tiny phones, these cameras, because they're so small, the sensors are really tiny. They can only pick up so much light. The DSLRs, their sensors are huge. In fact, they're kind of like the size of this camera screen here. That's how big those sensors are behind that lens. And so they can pick up so much more light. The only problem I have with the cameras on the phones is because the sensors are so small, you can only do so much. And the camera quality still looks like it's from a phone. And then there's this whole megapixel race where, oh, we got 28 megapixels, oh, we got 30, oh, we got 40. It only matters to a certain extent. Your eyes can only just decipher like something like 20 or something like that. And then when you're posting on billboards, when you stretch out the image really far, then yeah, that matters. But when you're doing stuff where just average point and shoot, you really only need about 15 or more. That's pushing it. What really matters is the sensor size. They got to do something where they increase the sensor size on the camera.
You know what? That's actually a really good point, because that's kind of I'm kind of right in the middle with both of you guys here, because on one hand, I feel like people want to carry one device. I do feel like we're in a stage in life where one device, if it's your phone, if it's your tablet, I hate tablet photography. I just want to point that out there. But if it's your phone or your tablet, whatever you carry with you, that's going to be what you want to take your photos with, or whatever you want to do. Like Phil said, your thermometer. At one point, I'm sure we're going to be able to check blood pressure and everything right from your phone. So, with how technology is going now, on the flip side is I'm somebody who likes image quality. I like that's why I chose to go with the OnePlus One, because I like a good camera on a phone, and this has a 6-lens ISO camera, and being able to get macro shots and things like that are really important to me. But when it comes down to pixels, I feel like you said, it's not necessarily about the image megapixel count, but the size of the lens itself. So I feel like there needs to be a good balance. I mean, yes, if I don't want to go too technical in the mumbo jumbo about apertures and things like that, but if maybe the next couple of years, I've seen some phones, over the last year or two that's looking like we're going to be there soon, like the Lumia, I think it's the Lumia 920.
Yep.
It has the 41 megapixel with the wide ISO lens. it's funny, like not much of the Android phones, but the iPhone 6 Plus has a pretty wide aperture, and allows you to take in more lights. That has an 8 megapixel camera, and that still looks pretty good. So the Nexus 6 has a pretty decent lens on there, from what I've seen. You know, it's we're getting there. I feel like, but I don't feel like we're there yet. So, do I say? What do you got there, Phil?
Is that a mirrorless DSLR?
We have a camera. I just remembered I had just in this conversation. 14 megapixels, 24 something wide. This is what I have.
Is that yeah? And I was doing some research because I actually want to get a DSLR. We literally just finished shooting a movie that we're submitting to a film festival. We won another one for $1,000, and I was like, wow, this is great. So let's enter another one. And I was using this guy's camera. It's one of those old traditional. Basically looks like his, but has the really long cylindrical part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like a regular DSLR. And another thing that we're missing with these phones is the manual focus. I mean, you can tap where you want it to focus and everything, but it's not like the traditional slow focus or fast focus, however you want it. In addition to the sensor size, they got to do something about the sensor size. Because that's just one thing that bothers me to no end, because the low light shots, no matter what kind of programming you can do to the phone, it still can only pick up so much light.
Right. Exactly. So, I mean, here's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping to see, because Samsung is saying that their Galaxy S6 is going to be a really big player in the camera market. The new HTC M9, which we'll talk about next week, that's going to have a lot of camera features that should be coming out with them. And, you know, LG had something pretty good last year. They had laser autofocus in their camera. So we'll see what we get from them this year. You know, and of course Apple, they're claiming that their next iPhone is going to be DSLR-like quality sensors, or at least image processing. They said. So we'll see how that turns out here. So let's go down the run list here. We'll see we're doing good for time on today. How thin are phones?
Oh, that's something I just added real quick.
So that's actually really great.
Here's my question to you: is a thinner phone always better to you, or would you rather have a phone that's maybe twice as thick and has twice the power and twice the battery life?
That is a good question. That's good. To be honest, that is really tough because I have a pretty thin phone now with the OnePlus One. Can it be thinner when I want it to be thinner? If I meant sacrificing some of the things that I like about it, no, I don't really care if it was thinner.
Yeah.
I would actually prefer a little thicker. To squeeze maybe some extra battery life in there, maybe optical image stabilization for the camera, but I don't think that I want it to be too thick because I've seen some of this phone from CES that's coming out this year. I forget the name. It's like this Cygos. If I'm butchering the name, guys, and you guys know out there, leave it in the comments below because I'm sorry I'm butchering this. But
he's tired.
I think it's a Cygos V2. This phone has top of the line specs, like 21 megapixel optical image stabilized camera. 21. The 5 or 8 megapixel camera up front that also has optical image stabilization in the front of the phone. It has a big thick battery, and it has 2 SD card slots for the ability to add up to 320 gigabytes of phone storage internally.
That's nice.
And the phone is like $599 unlocked. It's super cool. It's just ugly. It's so thick and it's ugly, and I cannot buy it. I hate to say it. It sounds like the dream phone, but
I think it's one of those instances where bigger is not better.
Yeah. I mean, you know, there's a certain elegance to having a smartphone with you. It shouldn't be cumbersome.
Yeah.
You know? And I feel like a phone that thick. Go ahead.
Oh, shoot. Oh, here's my take on it. Something like this size of the camera, personally, I would not mind something this thick. I mean, that's really not too thick to me because when you have something this thin, every commercial I'm seeing for a phone now, whether it's the new iPhone or the new Samsung Galaxy phone, they're always rushing the thinness, how thin it is. Like, oh, it's 0.2 millimeters thinner than the last version. I don't care. That now you have to sacrifice more hardware to just make up for it being like a couple millimeters thinner. You know, if you could I wouldn't even care if you tripled the size of the phone this thin, because I can still put it in my pocket. But now I have almost 3 times the battery life, and put some dual speakers in there, a better camera. You can just do more stuff with it. I don't want it to be like the size of a brick, but you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, definitely.
I think we're going to go to the point where the phone's going to get so thin it's going to be like paper. You know? I don't necessarily like that. It's not for me. Just keep the phone the way it is, and then start making it better this way. What's your take on this, Phil? Thinner or bigger?
I'm always going to be for the thinner. I'm not even sure why. I took a look at my phone compared to the Nexus 5, because that's what the comparison for me was. And this phone happened to be slightly thinner, and that helped me get that past that decision for those. Also, I think I'm just geared to think that thinner is better, even if it's not. So part of it is just hypnosis, I think, honestly. It's like, why is this phone so thick? You know?
It's supposed to be like the whole elegance and the premium feel of the phones because they're a lot thinner. Yeah.
Yep.
Now, see, that comes into the thing also. Is because it's thin mean premium. I feel like you can make a phone thicker and make it look better. It also, because I say now the Cygus V2, that phone is just way too thick. I don't care what anyone says. It's too chunky, and yet it's still skinnier than that camera you picked up. And that's just for me. But there are some phones like there's the blue Vivo Air that you can get from Amazon for like $199 unlocked, and the iPhone 6, and some other phone from Oppo that's like really, really thin, like 6-something millimeters, and I feel like when I held them, I had the blue Vivo Air and I held the iPhone 6, and it's too thin. I feel like and it's so thin that it makes it slightly uncomfortable to hold.
Yeah.
And so now I'm a case person, so yes, I'll put a case on there anyway, and it'll feel fine. But just the way that the phone was designed, I feel like at that thinness, it was too much of a sacrifice and uncomfortable for me to justify it being being that thin.
Also, when it comes to something like that thin, what does that say about the durability? I mean, you hear about all the bend-gate things with the iPhone 6 Plus. I mean, if they made it a little bit thicker, that's more metal in it. That's a little bit more reinforcement. It doesn't have to be a couple millimeters thinner. I just want to say, stop making it so thin. This is a good starting point. Just make the phones better from here. You don't have to make it thinner.
So I'm actually going to go ahead and throw this in the chat for you guys to see. This is the Cygus V2. And Grant, you're going to go ahead and throw that on the screen for us to see here.
Yeah. You guys see it?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. So the Cygus phone here, you see here, like what it has, 5-inch 1080p display, edge-to-edge borderless screen.
Oh, that's cool. The sunlight viewable screen. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, Gorilla Glass 4, so very durable.
That's the one thing I don't like about Samsung is the AMOLED and how it features in the sun. I can't see it.
Oh yeah, AMOLED's really bad in the sun. I take IPS for
what do I have? For sun. What do I have?
You have the Galaxy S5, so you have the AMOLED display.
Yeah.
Well, when you just turn the brightness up and it's fine. What are we talking about here, guys?
It's all the way up.
Turning the brightness up all the way up is killing batteries. Really worth it?
I mean, are you just hanging out outside all day? No, we're people. We go indoors. We walk outside to get to a place. 13
megapixel front face. I was so off. 13 megapixel front facing camera with OIS and autofocus. Wow. So yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And a hardware camera shutter button.
Now that's something I wish they included because you have to keep pushing that button on the screen. That gets a little bit old. I want some tactile feedback when I press the camera button. Oh, wow. I miss having a camera button to actually press. You can do a selfie with the front-facing camera. You know what I mean? But you can turn it around. You don't have to press the screen.
You know what? I think I might take back some of my things because not only is it GSM, it's also CDMA network capable. So that means you really get it on Verizon and Sprint as well as T-Mobile and AT&T. So.
Oh, here's another thing that keeps confusing me. They have IR transmitters. Why don't they have IR receivers? See that? Why doesn't any phones have an IR receiver as well?
And IR means what?
You see, how it's an infrared transmitter, so you can control your TV and all that stuff.
And fight Superman, apparently. Yes. I don't know what IR and all this stuff. Infrared, heat vision.
Infrared transmitter, as in that's what your TV remote uses.
Oh,
You press the power button on your TV remote. That's what it sends an infrared wave to your TV.
Okay.
But your S5 also has an infrared transmitter, so you can control your TV with your phone as a remote. But see, my question is, why don't they also include a receiver for their IR receiver transmitter? So, can you imagine the kind of apps you can build? You can be like communicating with someone across the room without having to have a network or a Wi-Fi connection.
Yeah, that's actually pretty sweet, man.
I don't understand why people don't do that.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you. I really couldn't tell you.
Hey, there we go. That's what I like to see. 3.0 USB.
Oh, that's actually pretty sweet. Wow. Well, now that I'm actually looking at this now, I'm seeing a lot more things I actually did not see here.
This is like everything that everyone wants: built-in stereo speakers, a huge battery, wireless charging.
Yeah, and my thing is go back to the storage options again, so you can see the storage options. So you get 64 gigabytes onboard storage.
Where is it?
Memory. What the memory?
Oh, okay.
There we go. So 3 gigabytes of RAM, 64 gigabytes of onboard flash storage, with dual micro SDXC slots. So you can add a 256 gig each, or is that 128 gig each? I'm sure
it's 128 each.
Yeah. So
SD cards can only hold up 128.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you that right now. That's actually pretty tempting. But let's take a look at the phone again. So we look at this phone, how it looks, and look at how thick that is. Nope, can't do it. Oh, I tried.
Hold on. How thick is this? 9.7 millimeters. I got a tape measure right here. Oh man, I could do that. I can still do that. You can do 9.7 millimeters? Yes. That is no big deal.
Why don't you go up and show us how big that is?
Yeah.
So we can get a see here. Get a look-sees. What?
Where are you indicating?
That's at. Yeah. Where's the indication at?
Hold on. Hold on. You can't see it in there?
No, we cannot see it. You're
too blurry?
Yeah, it's too blurry.
Oh.
Why don't you put the finger on it so we can see?
Hold up, wait a minute. I kind of lied. It's kind of thick. It's kind of thick.
Yeah, it's thick.
I have to see it in real life. That's one of the things I have to feel and hold.
Yeah, I'm sure once I get my hands on it, I may have a different opinion on it. But as of right now, it's just too thick. It seems too thick for me. While we're on the topic of CDMA networks, let's go ahead and wrap up some of this mobile tech talk about some big news in the mobile industry. T-Mobile has now taken third place as the third largest wireless provider in the United States, surpassing Sprint just the other day. What's going on, guys, and what do you feel like Sprint is doing to get this to get this game back into third place? Do you feel like Sprint is going to try and make a big push back in the third place, or do you think T-Mobile is going to be sitting there for a while as the king of the third?
Phil, I want to hear your opinion first.
Okay, that's great. Well, first of all, where I live, I kind of forget that Sprint and AT&T exist. It seems like everyone either has Verizon or they have T-Mobile. So I don't really have a lot to say about these guys squabbling for their third position, I guess. I think they all, like, with their competition, like with any industry, they're gonna like strengthen each other with the competition. But at the same time, where I live, both. I mean, I thought T-Mobile was already number 2. So.
Oh, all right, you're right. See, and I'm here with you. I have T-Mobile also, and you know, I had AT&T and I had Sprint. I've had Verizon. Granted, very, very long periods of time where I've had each services. But as of right now, T-Mobile's been great. I rarely find a place where I don't get coverage. LTE speeds are just ridiculously fast. But Sprint. I feel like when it comes to quality service, I feel like range, they may have some areas covered where T-Mobile doesn't currently have covered. But T-Mobile is doing really good, and I feel like their coverage and there's data connection and their voice over speeds are much more quality compared to Sprint, and I feel like with the plans that they offer, like the no carrier contract thing, you know, you can get you know, unlimited data, text messaging, talking, hotspot, and all that jazz for like $50-$60. I'm telling you, there's kind of no way at this point for me to see anytime soon that Sprint's going to make a pushback. Well, they may have something that can win over if you're an Apple fan, but we'll talk about that in a second. Grant, what do you think about this?
Well, to be honest, I've only had Verizon as a carrier for a long time. Very recently, we were looking into switching to maybe to different companies just because of the price. You know, T-Mobile, I'm kind of surprised it was third. I thought it was more down there like fifth and sixth. Like to be honest, it's because everyone at my school, you know, it either has Verizon or the complete way opposite, where they have track phones and flip phones. So I mean, that's like the diversity we have in our school. So my experience with Verizon, yeah, I don't like how they roll out the updates really slow, but it seems like every other carrier has it right as soon as the people like Android release their operating system, or like when Samsung releases their new software. You know, it takes Verizon forever for them to get it. T-Mobile, I think, will stay at third. And the reason I say that is because of all of the advertisements they show. That one lady on the motorcycle, the numerous amount of commercials that they have promoting T-Mobile. I just don't see it with Sprint as much. I think they're really trying to keep themselves steady at third. I think with all their price ranges and contracts they have, I think Sprint will stay down there at fourth or even lower.
So that brings me into the next topic is, you know, Sprint has this trump card calling it iPhone or Apple for life, saying that you can get an iPad or an iPhone for like a low price of like $100 a month or something like that, and you can be guaranteed the newest version whenever it comes out if you sign a contract with Sprint. What do you guys think about this Sprint Apple for life plan? Is it something that may entice you if you weren't looking to get into an Apple device, or if you're looking to get into a phone carrier and you're maybe out of college or getting into college and looking to get yourself an iPhone, or if you're looking to get yourself a smartphone in general? Is $100 for an iPad and an iPhone per month something that may lock you into Sprint and push Sprint into third place?
Well, you already know I'm out of this one. I wouldn't. You couldn't pay me to get an Apple device.
Well, how about this? If you were to pretend to be a Apple user, would this be big for you? Would this be good for you?
Honestly, doing the math, not really. They were charging around $70 a month. I think it was like 50 of it was going towards the new phone, the 20 and was going towards the unlimited talk and text. The numbers, they vary, but it was $70 a month for paying off the phone and using the data and texting and voice. Honestly, I'm not so sure how much you'd save, if any. $70 a month is way more than what I already pay. If I just wanted the new phone, I'd save up for it.
Now they also have the iPad. The iPad also, if you add the iPad, it's even 100 for the month. What about that?
Well, that's $30 more a month, isn't it?
Yeah. But what's the iPad? I think the iPad is like, I think it's like, they give you an iPad Air 2 or AirPod 1, and they give you an iPad Mini, or you can choose between an iPad Mini 2. So it's like, I think the price of the iPad itself is like $299 for the Air, for the Mini, and $399 for the Air.
Well, then do this. Do 30 times 12. You're paying additional 30 for 12 months. That's $360. So that's already exceeded the price of the iPad. How does that make sense?
And you have to lock it for 2 years. You think it's worth it?
This is why. So I have the S5, and with T-Mobile, I pay monthly for the phone and the unlimited data and everything else. I don't know. It comes to being like $100. Not to mention with the way Jump works now, I can't shift to a different phone until I pay off half of the phone price plus the tax on the new phone. So a flat $70 a month with everything being unlimited and me getting a phone every year, if I was trying to get an iPhone, that would seal the deal right there.
So if you're an iPhone, you just receive it now. Now, granted, you have to be in contract, and I think the penalty is like $700 plus the price of the devices.
Yeah.
For the cancellation, but you'll be locked in for this for at least 2 to 3 years. They said.
Okay, well, I will take a look at this. What are the main reasons people cancel? They're unhappy with their service, or they want to change a phone. If Sprint, I haven't had Sprint in many years, but if their service is on point, that handles the wanting to leave because of coverage. And if you're getting the phones, that handles the other objection to wanting to leave a contract. So with those two things being met, I would have no problem being locked in with them because my needs would be met.
Now, so would you say it's a regional thing? Because I would say where I'm at now, Sprint coverage is decent. Now, data speeds are pretty bad. And I feel like if I'm carrying an iPad and I'm carrying an iPhone, if they're my daily drivers, my data has to be fast. I mean, we're on these devices predominantly for internet. Is slow speeds but mass coverage worth it for both devices for you at $100 a month?
Well, we've talked about this before. I don't know the exact specifics, but I do have Verizon Fios here. It's the slowest possible that they have to offer, and it's fine for all my needs. We're doing this. I play my Xbox One. I have no issue with the speeds on my end because I'm a more simple person. Yet you are the guy that needs the speed. So honestly, for me, I may not notice that gap, and I would be fine more than likely.
All right. So Grant, does it change your opinion at all? Do you feel firm on not worth it?
Well, I was looking at it from my point of view. I don't like being dedicated to a contract for especially that long period of a time. When it comes to something like Verizon, you can buy a phone and you're paying for the phone's contract for 2 years. You're paying for the service for 2 years, not the phone. So if something happens to this phone, or I figure out, TouchWiz sucks, I don't want to use this phone anymore, I can use a different phone. But I'm also sure you can do that with this program. If I end up hating Apple, like I already do, I'd be like, oh man, I'm stuck with this iPhone forever.
Yeah.
So what do you do?
And and that's kind of where I feel right now. I feel like because I'm not someone that can solely be dedicated to one operating system.
Right.
And my thing is that if you look at the stipulations of that plan, no, you cannot switch to another phone, even for the same pricing. Even if it was a phone that costs less, you still have to be an iPhone. So I can move down to like an iPhone 5S or something, but I can't move down to like an HTC, a Nexus, or a Samsung device or anything else like that. So I feel like the pricing is perfect. I feel like if they offered this for a tablet and a phone of your choice, this probably work out great for them. But by limiting it to Apple devices, if you limit your customers that you're going to get, because now you're only going to get Apple diehards.
That's a big group.
Which is fine for a lot of people.
Yeah, that's a big group too. I mean, they're smart for doing just Apple. I'll give credit where credit is due, because Apple has pretty much their own fan base. Whether the product is good or not, that's up for debate. I'm not getting there, but it's just Apple has their own fan base, Android has their own fan base, and Apple seems to be more stable, more stubborn, I guess. And by going after Apple, that's a huge group to go after, and that's kind of giving Sprint more of like a premium or more official feel, I guess.
Right, and like I said, I agree with that, but I do feel like by limiting yourself even if a group of elitists, right? You can say they're Apple elitists, right? Is that if I'm an Apple elitist and I want the best of the best, is that really the best of the best plan for me? Well, when I can go to AT&T, Sprint, or T-Mobile and get some other feature that I need for my iPhone, like T-Mobile has the Wi-Fi talking, so you can talk over a Wi-Fi network for free. That seems pretty cool. If you have an iPhone, or you can go with Verizon, that gives you the fastest coverage and data speeds currently for an iPhone, which I will pay more for. But if I'm already expecting the best, if I'm paying for the most premium device, then I would assume that I would go that direction as well. So, but those are really good points, though, guys, and that actually We're actually going to take a quick break here, quick ad break, and we will be back for the next part of our topic. Stay tuned. And we're back, and let's talk about some pretty interesting news in the entertainment industry. And this is actually some exciting news for myself, for one, because I gotta make sure you guys keep me on track on this, because I can talk about this forever. But the big news is that Spider-Man, or Sony, has allowed Spider-Man to join the official Marvel universe. So we're gonna start seeing Marvel movies now with Spider-Man. So we can have some real Avengers movies now with Spider-Man. Hopefully soon with X-Men too. But for now, we'll take what we can get. So Phil, you're my comic dude, man. So what's going on, man? What's happening? This big news or what?
It is big news, but it's also like it's unacceptable that it wasn't already a thing. The way that all of these the comic lines work now, they're all working together. So these movies have been basically massively handicapped by not having Spider-Man and other people already involved with them. So it's great news, but it's something we should have long had. Now, obviously, I'm happy that something we can finally get going, but it will definitely change things.
What about you, Grant? Are you big into the Marvel scene?
You know what? I'm gonna be that guy. Seems like I'm that guy a lot, doesn't it? You know, I'm gonna step out on this one just because I feel like this is not my field. I want Javon to give his opinion on this.
Well, if you want my opinion, like I said, this is huge news. I'm someone. Well, first of all, I'm gonna get this out the clear. This is my spoiler. I don't know why I picked this up for. This is my disclaimer. I like DC Comics more than I like Marvel Comics. We have one viewer. Please don't leave because I like DC Comics. I'm sorry. Okay. But I love DC Comics. Superman, Batman, The Flash. Slade Wilson. I love it. Now, granted, I also like Marvel. It's a very, very close second. Like Deadpool seals the deal for me. You know what I'm saying? Deadpool should be an exclusive. I feel like they should move Deadpool over to DC and everything will be perfect. But I like Marvel and I love what they're doing in the movie industry. DC owns television. Marvel owns movies, and I'm telling you right now, seeing a Spider-Man reboot made correctly. And now at the end of the scene, instead of waiting for a Sinister Four or whatever, at the end, we're actually going to see some Tony Stark interactions, some Iron Man, some Thor stuff. That's going to be pretty cool to see. And I also want to see how they depict Spider-Man compared to how Sony depict Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Because Spider-Man is supposed to be a goofy character. He's supposed to be lots of fun, super smart, taking risks, things like that. And that's something that
you say flicking wrists?
I'm going to say taking risks. Taking risks.
Flicking the wrist.
Right, and that's something that I haven't seen before with Sony Spider-Man. Even with the Amazing Spider-Man, he really didn't fill that void for me. And then the Spider-Man before, like in the 2000s, where Spider-Man's all emo, he had his hair, back to the side. That's not Spider-Man that I'm familiar with. Waking up in the morning, watching Fox and the Adventures of Spider-Man and their Spider-Man, you know what I'm saying? Those type of things. That's what means a lot to me. So okay. I want to see Spider-Man done right.
So one thing I'm going to have to say about what you're looking for Spider-Man is these guys are constantly changing. They go through different reboots again and again. You've had the nerdy Pete, you've had the sporty Pete, you've had the sporty and nerdy Pete, and so basically the movie representations are going to be the tone of what is most accepted or wanted from him. So it's like your Spider-Man needs updating, Ron, because they did a good job at giving us what people want. Did I like it myself? No. And The Amazing Spider-Man 2 was one of the worst movies I've ever seen. But with all comics, you have to take a look at, 70 years of writing, there's going to be differences. So it's the movies, the producers to just get what's going to get them the most money. And what's the most popular one for the target of the films, for the most part. So, I'm sorry if it's not the nostalgia of 1995 with the animated show, which in that show, they couldn't even throw punches, Javon. I'm sorry if that's not working out for you. So,
that's sick.
Yep. And then that's a real fact. if you go back and watch the animated series, there's not a single punch thrown. He jumps at people, and they wrestle on the ground and roll, and then one of them falls down. But,
Well, how about this? So if you're saying what's acceptable now when it comes to Spider-Man, are we talking about Spider-Man like Miles? What is his name? Miles, the Black Asian Spider-Man?
okay, I don't know how many times I have to explain this to you. Okay, are you ready? That is not canon Spider-Man. It's a spin-off, or maybe just consider a what-if universe. Okay? Because
Hey, they coexist in the same universe. Last time I checked.
Okay, no, it's okay. I don't.
Oh no, I feel a huge debate going on right now.
Grant, it's not even a debate because in the world where you have Pete dying and that other guy becoming Spider-Man, you have Pete joining the Future Foundation, which is the Fantastic Four. It's an offshoot. It's just like when you told me that there was a Black Flash, and that was just complete hogwash. It's not the same thing.
There's a Black Flash.
That's it. And but it goes to but even in the world where this this multiracial Spider-Man existed, once again that's more variation. So that's just another thing for the studio guys to put into their routine.
All right, well, let's trickle away from this conversation of Spider-Man. Let's do something where we talk to our next subject.
Well, next subject actually goes into to more Marvel news.
Oh, great!
And that is this is kind of late news, but I wanted to make sure we talked about it for a very diverse audience. And that is, we're talking about the one and only, the super fantastic female Thor. Will we be seeing a female Thor in theaters anytime soon?
No, we won't.
And why is that?
What?
Okay, Grant, are you aware that there is a hero named Thor in the Marvel Universe? Are you aware of this?
Okay, look, I'm not dumb. I've seen the Avengers, all right?
Okay.
I'm not a big fan of it. I know of it.
The reason why I don't think
sneak diss me. Look at you.
you're always that guy that says I hate to be that guy. It's like when we're talking about this, it's like me with all the tech stuff. So I just have to cover all my bases with you. But the reason why we won't see a female Thor, in my opinion, is because the female Thor herself wasn't even a female Thor, because Thor is a name for a particular Asgardian who wields Mjolnir, not like the Falcon becoming Captain America, because that's a title. And so I don't think they would put all their money to make an entire production on something that is going to be so short-lived. I mean, come on. It's like with the Wonder Woman TV show. I mean, Wonder Woman is probably one of the most recognizable and loved female superheroes of all time, and that could barely get to Fox. Do you really think they're going to do a female Thor movie from Universal Studios?
Now, I mean, that's the thing, though, that it's because it's Universal Studios. I feel like if anyone can push it, it's going to be Disney, man. What they've been doing with the movies lately has been crazy, It just makes sense that if anyone's going to push a serious female character reboot of a already famous character, it's going to be Disney and what they're doing with Thor. I mean, look at the Thor movies now. The Thor movies are selling, great. So to see a female Thor reboot, maybe in the Avengers 3 or 4 or something, that could be huge. And I feel like maybe it's time. I don't know. They're already doing the remake of what is his name? Johnny Torch. He's now a black character as well. I think that's pretty cool, having a black Johnny Torch. So I mean, and that's already happening.
Is that how it happened in the comics, though?
No, in the comics, Johnny Torch is white. Well, then in the comics, 99% of all superheroes are white. So, but
I haven't taken note of that. My question to you is it actually Johnny Storm, or is it just another person who is going to be the Human Torch for this movie?
Now it is Johnny Storm.
Okay. Well, my question to you is
but here's the ironic part, though. Remember, because the character formerly playing Johnny Storm is now playing Captain America. So we couldn't have him come back anyways. But they could have recasted another white actor to be Johnny Storm.
So it just goes to other connections, though. Sue Storm they didn't change her to an African American. So are they no longer siblings? It creates some issues that I'm going to have to take a look at. it's the same situation with I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank here. With I haven't watched any of Gotham yet. You know, shame on me for not watching Gotham or the Flash movie. Right?
Whoa! You haven't watched Flash yet?
I mean, the Flash. I haven't seen either of these. But
no, see, I haven't seen Gotham yet either. I'm very holding back on Gotham, but Flash is great.
But
it's amazing.
The reason I quickly bring it up is I heard that Iris is not Barry's love interest, and I'm like, I'm sorry, what?
I don't want to spoil you, but without any major spoilers, that is not completely true. They're doing
okay.
They're going the Smallville route. Remember how Smallville kind of
okay.
Yeah, they're going the Smallville route. Like Smallville.
I understand. All right.
So, that's pretty much it. If you have anything to add to this, Grant? I mean, without being
all those jokes I just sent you.
Yeah, without being that guy, what is your honest opinion on a say more diverse cast of characters from formerly already white characters?
Well, it reminds me of the Star Wars trailer I just saw with the Black Stormtrooper or Clone Trooper.
Mm-hmm.
See, I'm not going to be the racist guy. If I'm going to say, like, if you're going to pull the originals, I mean, I don't know. It could have just been some black guy dressed up in a suit. I mean, that's what Han Solo did, and that's what Luke Skywalker did. They just put on a suit. It wasn't mean they were stormtroopers. But if they're going for the fact that this black guy was a clone of Jango Fett, who was mixed, how do you go from mixed to being black and different? You know?
I can answer that for you, sir. So it's a big misconception that clone troopers are stormtroopers. Stormtroopers are just like normal military that we have now. Hey, I went to go work for the Empire. I'm going to go sign up. I'm going to go through boot camp. Those are not the remnants of the Jango clones.
So all the clone troopers are just done?
Yeah, they die off fighting in other places. But yeah, the traditional stormtroopers are just basic military, like the generals in the old movies. They're just regular guys that work for the Empire, opposed to clones. Yep.
That's actually really good information. I actually never knew that. I never knew that. That's actually really cool, man.
Every time I've been watching the movie, I thought it was just the clone troopers that got a different outfit, you know, but I thought it was still clones of Jango Fett.
No, like when you take a look, well, obviously they did a patch where they put the actor who voiced Jango's voice back into the old movies for Boba Fett. Mm-hmm. But you'll notice that some of the stormtroopers have different voices. They have different banter because they're different people. And Star Wars actually gets pretty deep with how racist that the Empire was. I'm sorry, I should say xenophobic, because they would only
don't be politically correct.
Yeah, they would only hire humanoids. So you wouldn't see a Wookiee stormtrooper because they thought they were inferior. You know. Now, obviously, there were exceptions for people who were strong in the Force, but I'll go on later. But continue. But it's okay to have a black stormtrooper, because as long as you were humanoid, you could have become a stormtrooper. So yeah.
Well, that answers that. That answers that. That's actually really good information, Phil. I would appreciate that, and I'm sure all your viewers appreciate that as well. Because currently we have 2 viewers, which is actually, yeah, we're getting up there. Just 2. It's more than 1, which is more than 0. Hey. So moving down on the list here, we're talking about health and fitness. And of course we are Chill Tech, so hey, we're bringing it back to tech, guys. Health and fitness. How can we improve health and fitness with technology today with the existing things that we like to call smartwatches or wearables? Grant, do you know some decent things about smartwatches, because you are wearables, because you are a fitness nut as well, as some other people that we know. So tell me, how is wearables affected your workouts, or have you planned to use or trying to use in future wearables or fitness tech?
Well, the only wearable I've ever used for fitness is called the Fitbit. You ever seen one of those?
Yeah.
Okay, so Fitbit is basically like this square or square-ish, longish rectangular thing you can wrap around your wrist. It tracks your how many steps you've taken. You can record like what kind of calories you've eaten. It will record your activity. So if you've been lifting a lot or if you've been running a lot, it will record that into there. It will do some mathematics and estimate how many calories you've burned. So me being a small white guy who's trying to build more muscle, since my metabolism is so fast, I can't be just running around all the time, or I'll start losing weight. So, using that wearable, I was able to put in how much food I was eating that day, making sure I was over my caloric intake, making sure I was eating more food than I was burning it off. And so, once I was using this, I was finding it was actually useful. I just stopped doing it because you have to manually enter in the food by itself. So if you had a slice of pizza, you got to put in a slice of pizza. Then you have to scroll down through the list to see what kind of pizza. Is it a cheese pizza? Is it a pepperoni pizza? And because of those options, it has different calorie counts. And that just gets a little bit annoying. If you do something where it's like counting your blood pressure or your heart rate or something like that, then yeah, I can see that'd be a lot more practical. But when you go towards the fitness side, there's some things to work out. That's just my opinion. I mean, it worked. It was just a lengthy process. You got to be dedicated to do that sort of stuff.
What about you, Phil?
With the glorious with the glorious TouchWiz, I have what we call S Health. It's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Now, for the same reason as Grant just spoke on, I hated the calorie function because I didn't feel like entering what I was eating. But so far as the heart rate, the stress meter, the pedometer functions, when I would actually go for my runs, it would help log my speed and my mile times. I found it very useful. The one thing I didn't like was the food issue. So I think it's actually really great. And TouchWiz is the best. So.
TouchWiz is the best.
Ooh.
Oh wow, shots fired. Okay. That's hurtful to me and Sock Android. We'll be seeing you in court there, Samsung. Bring an Apple with us. We're gonna destroy you. All right. So anything else you guys want to add on to it before I wrap it up? Before I wrap up wearable techs?
Actually, yes. Flexible screens.
Flexible screens.
Okay, so this is. I don't understand why people haven't invested in this technology more, like Samsung has. Have you guys seen the video of them bending the screen literally like a piece of paper? That used to be a screen. It was like that.
That was like
ignore that, by the way.
Keynote.
Ignore that part, by the way. But I don't understand why they're trying to make flexible phones. To me, we're not there yet. I think the screens are there, so take advantage of the screen. You can do something where you have a dedicated side of the phone. Let's say this is where all your hardware is, and here's your screen. Why don't you design something where it wraps around the hardware and take advantage of something like that?
Instead of how they currently have.
Yeah, instead of trying to make a flexible battery, a flexible processor, I mean, everything's flexible. Can you imagine a battery that bends, but then you bend it too much and it snaps and breaks, and juices destroy your skin? That doesn't make any sense to me. Why not just take advantage of the hardware you already have, but just be creative. I know that's hard for Samsung to do, but be creative and make a screen that can do stuff and be useful.
And you know what? You make a great point. But I'm going to sit here and I'm going to say this. There's one reason why I have not chosen to use wearable technology yet. And no matter it's the Android Wear, as beautiful as Android Wear devices are, with the Asus ZenWatch and the Moto 360, Pebble. I know a lot of people use Pebble. I'm not a big fan of Pebble. Fitbit, and even the upcoming Apple Watch. I'm not going to buy it. I'm somebody who buys technology. You know, I have a problem. I'm just gonna say that I have a problem, okay?
Yes,
and I'm aware I have a problem. But I'll tell you this: I will not buy a piece of wearable technology anytime soon until they fix the biggest issue, and that's battery life. And I feel like 1 to 2 days for Android Wear, 1 day they're claiming for the Apple Watch, almost a week for Pebble. That's too much for me still. And the reason why is because I feel like if I have a watch, the last thing I think about is charging my watch. I charge my phone, I charge my tablet, some cases I charge my headphones. You know what I'm saying? There's so many different things I'm charging. Now I gotta charge my watch and
I'm gonna stop you right there. I'm gonna stop you right there. Just because when it gets to the wearables like the Apple Watch, I was watching this parody video and it just made perfect sense. He's like, you can even have maps on your phone, on your watch. Kind of like the phone you already have.
Yeah, see, and that's the thing, right? But the Apple Watch is not a standalone device. It needs an iPhone to pair with it to do all the things that you need it to do. Now, the Sony Watch currently for Android Wear, at least it has a built-in GPS, so you can leave your watch at home and it has built-in storage, so you can store your music and stuff like that on the phone, on the watch, listen to wireless headphones. But still, using GPS and using Bluetooth on a battery that's not that big in the first place, a phone can't even handle that for so long, much less a watch. So I feel like that's just ridiculous. I'm not going to buy it, and I feel like no one else should buy it either. And I really do feel like if you're watching and you're thinking about buying into wearable technology, hold off for a while until you see devices with 2-week battery, or maybe every 6 months battery charge. Maybe if they figure out a way to use solar battery technology to work better or something like that. But charging your phone, your tablet, and then your watch at the end of the day is too much. And I feel like you shouldn't be able to, if you're using it for working out, or if you're on a road trip or something like that, and you plan on taking your watch with you, the last thing in your mind should be charging your watch. Because I don't think about charging my watch now, and that changes a lot.
That brings me. Do you want the watch itself or the wearable to be dependent or independent of the phone? So, for example, do you want it to be able to only run if it's connected wirelessly through your phone, or do you want it to be its own standalone device where it's basically a phone on your wrist and it doesn't need to be connected to anything?
I have yet to find the need to where I need notifications on my wrist.
No, I mean do you want it to be its own device?
I feel like it needs to be its own device, but I want to be able to give information to my phone when I want it to give information to my phone. For example, if a lot of them have the heart rate monitors and the calorie counter, things like that, right? Put that information to my phone when it sees my phone next to it, or log it wirelessly somehow to my computer. I don't care how you do it. I want that information off my watch, but I don't need anything else from my phone coming to my watch, except maybe a way to sync my music over there. That's kind of cool. But I don't want to carry my phone and my watch if I'm out for a run, because I want to come light. I don't run with 60 pounds. I'm not in the military. I want to run as light as possible. You know what I'm saying? I want the least resistance as possible, because I'm already going uphill as it is. And I'm a big guy, so that's a lot of things to factor in. So a phone can stay at home or in a backpack or somewhere far from the watch. I want an independent watch. I want something that, like I said, but the biggest thing is battery life. I don't care how it's done. I will take notifications on my wrist for now if it meant I had a long battery life. But hey, man, I don't know. I mean, Phil may like notifications on his wrist, but I don't want notifications on my wrist.
It's funny you mentioned that. Samsung's now been working on a flexible battery. I'm not so inclined to use that. I feel like
needs to work on a flexible operating system to work with Android. That's why
I feel like if you were to bend that battery, it would just snap, and all that oil and juice goes in your face. Well,
this is what I'm going to say when it comes to bending a battery. Just like the LG G Flex phone, yes, it can flex a little bit, but we're not talking about like, I'm going to destroy this battery. You know what I'm saying? There should be some level of saneness.
You have to treat them like the Stretch Armstrongs we had as a kid. You stretch them, but it's not the point to jump rope with the Stretch Armstrong. So
yeah, definitely. So moving on here, some of the things we talked about, we're missing one of our co-hosts here. My co-host name is Snooty Snort. How do you pronounce it again, guys?
Oh, it's like Nudie Scoot.
Classic.
Classic Snoot. That's it.
Yeah, Classic Snoot. Yeah, Classic Snoot isn't here with us today. He will be here with us for our next episode. But so he has some things we want to talk about. So we're gonna rest in peace on him for that. But so we're gonna move on to some gaming news here, and we're gonna talk about this new phenomenon, which is open world gaming and zombies. Phil, you know a little bit about this H1Z1 thing. Why don't you go ahead and lead me off with this? What's going on? What is H1Z1, and why should we care?
You should care because it's 2015. It's running on the PlayStation 2 graphics processor. That's why you should care. It's groundbreaking.
All right. He started off with the sneak dissing. All right. If he's not going to take the initiative, I'll do it. From what little I know, I like the cross-platform thing where you can play on the computer as well as playing on the Xbox together. I think that's the first thing I've ever heard of any game doing that. It's probably not.
There's been some games like was it PlanetSide 2? Which is that's all I gotta say is PlanetSide 2. And if you guys know anything about PlanetSide 2, then that just destroyed that right there on its own. And there's been some other games too, but this is supposed to be a big title for PlayStation, Xbox, and PC gamers to be able to come together in this grand open world adventure of your own Walking Dead. Like, we're gonna apparently be on Walking. Well, not say won't be on Walking Dead, but it's like Walking Dead. Like, you make a character and you have nothing, and you have to find stuff to survive, and there's no real end objective to this game. You know, so you're just trying to survive every single day. You build houses, you build communities, you go to gas stations and houses and try to scavenge for food and things, and people are undead, and you can turn into undead yourself if you get bitten, and it changes the dynamics of the game. This sounds really cool to me, and I feel like this is with technology advancing, with things like Oculus Rift and VR, things like that, and mobile gaming on your phone stuff. Is this the first step to a complete streamlined gaming community, or what's going on here, guys?
I've only used the Oculus Rift one time, and I think that was enough to make me realize my head hurt after using that. But that was one of the older versions. I hear that the newer ones are actually really good, and they don't have the the lag. Your brain can tell you're watching a screen instead of seeing real life. Well, after I used it, despite how badly my head hurt, it had a really cool field of view. Because it's kind of like your normal eyes. You can see like all the way back here. I can see my fingers right now. And when it comes to real gaming, I hate the fact where it just looks like I'm looking at a screen. I'm not into it. There's no depth. There's no perception. Like, oh wow, I can see them at a really far distance away. Oh, I can see this thing right next to me. It's more like I'm just looking at a flat screen. So when it comes to something like Streamline, where all consoles can combine into one, and you can use stuff like the Oculus Rift, that's getting somewhere, and that's the steps of progression that I want to see in video games. And they need to take a different approach on the programming as well, like how you get shot in the leg in Call of Duty, you just run around like you didn't get shot in the leg, that sort of thing. That they need to keep working on that stuff. But that's a good step progression right there.
Yeah, definitely, and that's I'm trying to tell you, man, the gaming this year is gonna be exciting. Phil, so what's your input on H1Z1 compared to games like Rust and what else is out there, DayZ and things like that?
DayZ, Dead Island. Honestly, I have the same issue with all these games, and it's not going to make sense because we're in the multiplayer world, but I like being alone in a horror game. That's where most of the horror comes from me. So the fact that there's going to be someone else involved, it ruins it. It gives me a support system, and I like the fear of playing a horror game without having that. And so I like the idea of it, but in my opinion, the multiplayer aspect of it ruins the theme, in my opinion, to a certain degree.
So how would you change the multiplayer aspect to work with the giving you the horror or the scariness in the game? Like, how would you allow it to work with it?
I don't know how it would work. It's 2006, so it's not very classic, but Resident Evil 4 is by far my favorite horror game there ever was. And not the scariest, though, but just the story and the immersion. And let's say if I'm playing H1N1 with my headset, and some guys talk, I can hear
H1Z1. H1N1 is a virus.
Yes. Okay, yeah. You know why they did that. Anyway,
I know.
So imagine we're playing, and let's say there's a large pack of zombies encroaching on my position, and I hear a guy playing with his girlfriend complaining that he's taking out the garbage. It's ruined for me,
Are these the swine flu zombies? The H1?
It's just like, I guess you can't have your cake and eat it too, so I would love to play with someone, but then I'm not going to be worried. It's like, in my opinion, it's like playing Doom with cheat codes. Why are you wasting time?
Right.
So, yeah.
All right. So, see, I'm going to add on to it, and I'm going to say that I feel like if they would make the multiplayer, I know some people hate this, but imagine if they took away the communication part of the multiplayer. Like, there's no way to talk to someone. So you have to. You bring someone into the game with you. You see them all there. They can attack you because apparently there is no friendly fire thingy, so you can attack someone. So now you have to think about it. Is this zombie or this player who's more dangerous to you? Because now you're like, I want to go in this gas station, and now there's 6 people inside there. They may all be friends, and they all might be playing somewhere relatively on maybe some other type of like communication system like TeamSpeak or something, right? Or Vent or something, right?
Or Skype, yeah.
Yeah, or Skype or something, right? So they're doing their thing, and you don't know if you can trust them. Are they going to kill you and rob you for your thing, which is a feature in this game, or are they now going to help you and take on the zombie horde, need out, join into their brotherhood? And maybe you're the person who may be like, I'm let them help me out, do what I can, and maybe I can attack them, in time to take them out. Like, that, to me, would bring a really interesting element to a game like that.
Yeah, but I mean, people can do that anyway. That's what they do with Rust. But what I really like about Rust is if they incorporate this into the game, Rust has in-game voice, where if you communicate, if you're far away, it sounds like you're far away. Like, your voice gets really quiet, and it's hard to hear you. Could you hear that?
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Like,
the
farther away you go, the farther away you go, the softer your voice gets. And so, if people are going to use third-party voice software like Skype or TeamSpeak, they're going to use it anyway, just to team up, so they don't want their voice to be heard. But that doesn't mean get rid of the voice in-game at all. I think that would be a cool feature, especially if they did the actual real-life distance traveling thing.
Mm.
I love that feature of Rust, because, like, there's the guy, like, of course he's completely butt naked because he started off with nothing, and I'm just staring at this other guy, and he's like, hey, want to be friends? I'm like, yeah, hey, look over there, like, bash your head in with this rock. But that's definitely an interesting aspect of the game. Don't get rid of it.
Man, that's good, man. You know what? Looks like we're about hit good on time here, so we're about to start heading on out. We actually have some Q&A before we leave today. We have some Q&A questions from a live viewer, so let's go ahead and take a look and see what we have here. You guys can give me a moment while I pick up this information.
You ever played Rust, Philip?
I found out what Rust was about 5 minutes ago when you brought it up. So no. I assume it's like Dead Island.
No, it's more of like H1Z1.
Oh, okay. Because I have Dead Island for free on Xbox Live.
So who wants to answer this question here? We have a question from a viewer that says, as a long distance runner, does the wearable track distance? Like, not only could you, and it got cut off here, so I'm going to go ahead and read the rest of it. I apologize.
You're messing up, Javon.
Okay. As a long distance runner, does a wearable track distance, like, not only could you time your runs, but if you wanted to track your distance, like 5 miles or something? Question mark. I guess it's a question for me then.
I mean, I don't see how they couldn't. I mean, guys, viewers, I don't actually think TouchWiz is amazing. Just saying that.
Oh,
but,
I thought you were serious.
but the simple S-Health tracks all of that. So, I mean, even not using one of these wearables, I could not imagine it not doing what you're asking. So,
are they asking, like, something like a waypoint?
Essentially, they're asking, can not only track how much you run or times that you run, but the distance, like if you were to run like 5 miles or something.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, even Google Maps can do that.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm actually going to tell you, the Google Fit, which is a cross-platform device for all of our Android health services, we can all download Google Fit, and Google Fit automatically, just by your phone processor alone, can track how far you were to run and where you were to run based off the GPS location if you had it on or off. So, to that question, yes, wearable devices can do that with Android Wear, and I'm sure Apple Watch will be able to support that too. As of right now, Pebble does not support a GPS system, so I don't know if it can track that information for you just by wearing the wearable alone. And we have a comment from someone, Travis Rock.
Hey.
He didn't leave a question, but he just said, "I see you." And Travis, we don't see you. So, hey. So that seems to be it for today. This was the Chill Tech Podcast. I'm your host, Javon LeBlanc. We're here with Grant Fox.
It's funny you mentioned that. Travis Rock's actually a friend of mine, and he's a pretty famous rapper too. You might want to check him out.
All right, so hey,
I'm actually being serious. He actually has a lot of fans.
Hey, I'll tell you right now, we will definitely check out Travis Rock's rapper. We'll give a shout out to Travis Rock and his. Does he have like a YouTube subhandle or something like that?
Yeah, I would just Google Travis Rock. He has his own music too.
So Google Travis Rock if you want to listen to some good music. We're also here with Phil Mercer. Hey, bud.
It's Bantha Fodder. Come on.
Bantha Fodder. Sorry, guys. Phil Mercer, the Bantha Fodder. All right. And we are your Chill Tech Podcast. This is episode 1, and we are signing out. See you guys.
Adios.